Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the No Sabo podcast. I am Elias.
And I'm Ivories.
John here with the camera finally.
Hey,
Past few episodes.
see, now you guys have to see his face too. We have to see it every time, but you guys were saved
You guys
the
can't
last
put this on me. This is
two
not
episodes.
Yeah, the last two episodes. Well, yeah, they were filmed off.
Was
Not
it
in
because
order.
it just wasn't charged? Or
I
what?
found out that one of my batteries is just it's not dead but doesn't work anymore. So no matter if you leave it charging all night, it doesn't. Yeah, I figured it out last night, but that was one time, and the other time I just forgot an SD card.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. It's one of those things, part of the job, you know.
Yeah.
Mine's forgetting an SD card or a battery. You guys might be like forgetting your phone open the house,
Yeah.
like stuff like
Oh,
that.
that'd be horrible.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, our viewers are thankful that they got a break the last two episodes. Sorry about your eyes, viewers. You get to
I
see
saw
John.
the views dipped a little bit. So
That's true.
Oh, is that why?
That's the
Probably.
baby face.
I know.
Yeah, yeah. They love the baby face. Well, we're gonna talk about holidays today.
Mm-hmm.
We got Christmas. This is probably gonna be released
Christmas week.
Yeah.
Christmas week. So this is y'all's Christmas present. We should have done a gift exchange. I should have known better. But yeah, I'm super curious about just Christmas traditions because we're all similar
Yeah.
in a way. Maybe not. We'll find out. But I'm kind of curious about like what everybody does around the holidays. We kind of talked about Thanksgiving a little bit and Christmas. We're all in kind of California,
Yeah.
right? We got a Mexican and what's your wife's?
Guatemalan.
Guatemalan,
Yeah.
and I married a Idaho girl, Blondie, and so that's a lot of different
It is. That's interesting.
things going on. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. Ivaris, what do your Christmases normally look like? Or should we talk? Yeah, let's talk Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, growing up versus now.
Well, growing up, because we lived in LA, we would drive down to Mexico every year.
Okay.
And from LA to Nayarit, it's like a 24-hour drive, like straight. And my dad would just drive.
Yeah,
Sometimes, like, he would pack a thermal with like hot water, and we'd pack like cup of noodles and things. So then if we stop in the middle of the road at night, he just, get his hot water, eat a couple noodles, and we wouldn't stay at hotels. We just go off on the side
Yeah.
and sleep for like maybe 2-3 hours, and then he'd keep going.
yeah,
And we would be there like Christmas and New Year's, and then we would come back. But it was cool because like we'd go out there, and my dad would always like pack the car with presents for all my family members out there and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, I was a little salty when I was little because we would go out there and like we would take all these gifts and presents and things for all my cousins and uncles and aunts and whatever, and then like me and my sister wouldn't get anything. Like we would just be like, oh, like
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And one year, once I got a little older, I did tell my dad, I was like, I don't want to go to Mexico. And he's like, why? And I'm like, because like we don't get gifts, like my parents would give us gifts, but they would give them to us before we left because they're like, no, we don't want to like kind of make them feel bad for the things you get. Not that we got a lot of things, but
yeah.
it just didn't feel the same, And so as we got older, like our gifts were nicer. Like I remember I got my first AirPod. Like, shoot, that was nice.
AirPods, didn't they just
not the
come out?
AirPods, the iPod.
Oh
That's what I
shit!
meant.
I was like,
I'm like,
damn. Wait a minute. I was like trying to do the math. I'm like,
She's getting that present this late. Yeah.
No, not AirPods, the iPod. But I didn't get the very first generation. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. That's the
64
one I
gig
had.
one.
It had the buttons on the top and it had the wheel, but mine was just the wheel and it was like a touch
Was
one.
it the Nano when they were cool?
No,
and
this was like
The thick one?
before the Nano.
it was like the brick.
Matter of fact, I
Yeah.
think I still have it in my car, dude.
Damn.
Yeah. But anyways, like
for protection. Someone breaks into your car.
no, and then so I told my dad, and then he felt really bad, because he started noticing like, yo, like we've been coming for years, like y'all know that we come, and like y'all don't do nothing for my daughters, and like
Yeah.
so at one point we were like, whatever. But anyways, since we moved to Idaho, we haven't really been going. I think we went the first year, but then like my grandma had passed, my grandpa had already passed, and both my grandparents on my mom's side are still alive, but they're in Cali. So we would just go to Mexico for Christmas for my dad's side of the family. So then after they both passed, like we just haven't gone back as often.
Yeah.
So now Christmas is here. My mother-in-law comes, so she flies up here, and then she's here for Christmas and New Year's, and we just all gather at my parents' house. And at first it was a little different because, you know, they had their own way of doing their Christmas traditions. We were trying to figure out how to do now our Christmas traditions, you know. And so, like, question, do you guys open presents on Christmas Eve, or do you guys open Christmas on Christmas Day? Do you open one on Christmas Eve? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what we were also trying to figure out. And so now I think we got it down, because there's also more of us now. We only do gifts for the kids. So like my kids, my sister's kids, and at home, we don't do gifts for each other like me and Michael. I mean, we do gifts for the kids, but we do like fill stockings, you know, so it's nothing huge.
Yeah.
And then when we get together with my family, like instead of doing gifts, we're now doing games. Because that's kind of been like a bigger thing in the last few years. Like, and you do little prizes, and like it's a lot more fun to do it that way.
Yeah.
But we do let the kids open the gifts that we give them. So like if I give my niece gifts, she'll open those that night, and then my kids will open the gifts that my siblings gave my kids. But our kids don't open our gifts and Santa's gifts until Christmas Day in the morning. But I mean, everybody's...
Yeah. Was Santa a big part of, like, was that big for you growing up when you were little? Like, what
and it's
Santa
funny
gave
because,
you,
like,
or?
for us, it was Santa. But when we would go to Mexico, it was El Niño Dios.
Oh,
you know?
Yep.
So then, like, oh, ¿qué te trajo el Niño Dios? You know? And I'd be like, nada.
Did you guys celebrate Los Tres Reyes Magos at all? Did you guys do that?
No, we didn't.
No?
We, like, my parents and stuff, not really. But again, my family in Mexico did. You know, they'd be like, oh, and also like El Día del Niño and stuff. It's all kind of like on the same.
Yeah.
But we didn't, and they would. So it was like, dang, they got presents all over. Like, they got presents from us. They got presents from El Niño Dios. They got presents from Los Reyes Magos. They got presents for El Día del Niño. And we're like...
Yeah, I remember being a kid because my birthday's in December. I was cashing in. Like, it was like December 6th, Christmas Day, I think January 6th. I don't remember what day. But also I remember just being creeped out too.
Why?
Well, one, there's a dude coming into my house. There's a dude coming into my house.
Yeah.
You know, through the chimney we didn't
How's
have.
he getting in?
Of course he would think of these like technical things.
Well,
then,
I
How does he
mean,
fit?
I think at one point I did too. I was like, oh, but how?
When did he discover it? I remember clearly.
It was traumatic for me when I found
Really?
out Santa wasn't real. But the Tres Reyes Magos creeped me out because I was like, I gotta leave a shoe out there. Like, what if they take it? You know, because I was all about my shoes when I was little. You know, and so it was always crazy.
That's funny.
But so when did you find out that? And kids, I hope parents don't let your kids watch this. By the way, disclaimer.
Yeah.
When did you find out Santa wasn't real? Do you remember that?
I don't remember, but I must have been like 11, 12 maybe. And then my mom set me aside and was like, okay, like you figured it out. And you start figuring it out because other kids in school start talking about it, you know? And so then like you really start like, wait, you know, start using that logic. Like, how can he really, right?
We don't even own a fireplace.
And I mean, because we lived in an apartment for up until I was like 10, 11, you know? But yeah, then my mom set me aside and was like, okay, yeah, it's us. But now you're going to help us with your sister to keep the magic alive.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Like,
so
fuck the magic.
so now I'm kind of running into that a little bit. Like my oldest is 11 and he still believes.
Yeah.
But I'll ask him like, do kids at school say
Until he sees this
anything?
episode.
Yeah.
You
Nah,
leave it
they
playing,
don't. No.
You leave it playing, and they're like,
Yeah. And so then, but I think he's getting to that point where he's like kind of skeptical. But I love that he still does believe.
Yeah.
And even like, I think the whole Elf on the Shelf thing is like a white people thing, right? Because we didn't got that.
No, we
Right? That's a duende. Like, that's creepy.
Yeah. I don't understand it.
Right?
I see it and it's
But
like,
my mother-in-law bought it for them, I think like, I think it was last year. So she shipped it and then it was like, oh, great. Like, we have to be the ones doing it anyways, though, right? So, like, Michael has been moving it, or like now this year, like, I've been participating in moving it. And like, they both believe that like this dude's really like moving like
creepy. Now that's creepy.
yeah.
but we don't go all out. Like, there's some people out there that like be doing all kinds of crazy stuff to the elf, and I'm like, I just move it from spot to spot. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I don't do nothing else. But what about you guys?
My Elf on the Shelf was gifted last year when I smoked, and the vape check. Like, they rolled up a check. I think I can't remember, it was like $100 for Christmas. And then it was Snoop, the Elf on the Shelf Snoop Dogg edition.
Oh,
Oh,
the
no.
Snoop on a stoop.
I think yeah. And so
Yeah.
he's holding the check, and then they're like, light it. And then I lit it, and they're like, well, don't let it burn all the way because it's an actual check. And yeah, it was, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to use Snoop when my daughter's holding it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I might buy it because right now my kids are actually into Snoop right now.
Oh,
There you
yeah. It is pretty cool.
And so my 6-year-old's like, I want Snoop on a stoop. And I was like, I would much rather use that one than the freaking.
Just to
Elf
have
on the
like
Shelf.
pretend that Michael ran him over like the next morning, just put him under the car.
I'm going to put Snoop on a stoop, like looking out the window. And then I'm going to put the Elf on the Shelf outside on the road. So it's like he's looking at him.
Tied up somewhere. Yeah.
What about you, John? I kind of heard you say something about Santa. You still remember?
Oh yeah, man. Like, I mean, Christmas was never like crazy for us because like it was just I'm the oldest, so it was usually just me. But one time I opened my mom's closet,
Yeah.
and I was like, holy, this is like there's toys in here.
Yeah.
And then I thought they were for me. Like, I really thought they were for me. And then, yeah, they weren't for me. They were for my cousins and stuff. But they had one there. It was like one of those dancing pads. I don't know if you guys remember those. You plug into the TV and you dance. And it said from Santa. And I was like, oh. And I remember seeing in that stack of toys because I didn't tell anybody. I was just like, I hit the jackpot this Christmas, and I didn't hit the jackpot, but I did get that. But they wrote Santa on top of it.
So
and
that,
then, dude,
yes,
the worst part
yes.
is I found out that the Tooth Fairy didn't exist that same year. In my mom's purse, I found the freaking tooth. Oh, yeah, I was like, damn.
How'd you handle it?
I didn't. It was just. I just noticed. Like, I'm like, what the crap? I mean, it didn't say anything.
See, I mean, if
Like-
kids were smart, they would just zip it and still be cashing in.
I
you
didn't
know?
say anything, but I feel like my mom realized that I was just getting. I was in third grade. I remember this because then after that we moved. But yeah, I
Third
was like,
grade.
yeah.
So you were young.
yeah, and then I moved to Texas, and I remember this vividly during Christmas time. I had just moved to this middle school, and there was like 5,000 kids in this middle school.
Yeah.
And I remember this kid, they were talking about what they got for Christmas. And I mean, my parents were pretty broke back then because that's when the economy crashed.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get anything. No, I did get something. I got an iPod Shuffle. Those little, the ones that had no buttons on them, but you had to switch on the, and this kid's like, yeah, I went over to so-and-so's house, but I left running because she wanted to have sex with me. And that was the first time I remember like sex was introduced into my life too. So it was just all downhill those couple Christmas times.
Damn.
Yeah. I didn't know people had sex in fourth grade. Like,
I didn't either.
yeah, that's how crazy it was in Texas, man. And so yeah,
Shit. So what do you guys do? Like,
Oh.
how do you guys celebrate? Like as a family, like growing up as a kid, and then just
as a
now?
kid, I mean, I was the oldest, so we always got like one gift. Like
Yeah.
we were never abundant. I mean, I can't say I had like an abundance. Just whatever my parents could, they'd get me something. But like growing up, until my other brothers, because there's a huge age gap between us. So I mean, it was a long time until they started seeing like Santa, and it was pretty cool because by the time my brother was 7, I was 14. So like and
I
then
think 7 years from your
and then
next
there's
sibling.
14 years between me and my little brother. Like Alex, you guys know Alex.
Yeah.
So now it's cool because like Alex as a little kid, we all work now and we could like buy him
Yeah.
stuff. So seeing the little kid be so excited or
Yeah.
like ask for something, because my parents like now they are in a position that they can buy us like
Yeah.
cool stuff. So like what they do with Alex and they did my brother Adrian. I don't know if you guys met them, but they would ask for something like Alex wanted an iPod for the longest time, so they would wait until like Christmas to buy him stuff.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see his reactions and like to see like, oh, Santa brought you this, and they don't believe in that anymore. But
Right.
it was really cool seeing that. Now, but like growing up, I think the hardest part was sharing that with a spouse. Like, thankfully, well, not thankful, but thankfully it was pretty easy because like my in-laws would go to Guatemala for like after Thanksgiving, and they wouldn't come back until like middle of January.
Oh, so you wouldn't have to split your holiday between your family.
It was
and-
hard for
yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving was hard because I had to split Thanksgiving with my family, but I knew that Christmas and New Year's was with my family. So
Yeah.
But this year's gonna be cool because this is the first year that everybody's staying, and we're gonna host it at our house. And so like we're excited because now the
Oh.
baby's here. Now
Yeah.
nobody. So I think it's gonna be really excited now for like here on tradition wise.
Yeah.
How we're gonna do it? It's gonna be interesting because her family's so big. So we did what is it called when you just pick someone's name
A
out?
Secret Santa.
Yeah, Secret Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, yeah, it's hard to get everybody presents because it's such a big one. But like
Yeah.
between my family, we just give one per household, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I give one to my mom. Like we give one to my mom, one to my dad, and my parents give something to us. And yeah, we don't really celebrate like that, but we do wait until the 25th because
Yeah.
we'll party. Like we'll have our party on the 24th, and then midnight hits. We'll usually spend it over at my parents' house. But this year, like I said, they're gonna come to our house.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because now it's like, oh, we're getting older. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm really excited for that. I think the one tradition I will keep though, I think, is like having that 24th with the family, and then just like being wherever you're gonna be, but then still coming home the 25th.
Yeah.
And then just being at home and opening
Yeah.
presents. Yeah, we balled out this year and we like decorate our house. So we're like, it's cool because like we've never had anything like that before, and like
Yeah.
being able to decorate and just do all that stuff,
Yeah.
like it feels really cool. But yeah, what about you,
Oh,
Ellis?
I was gonna ask you. So yeah, are you both the oldest in your family?
Yeah.
I am. I'm the oldest on my dad's side, like the whole. So it's
What's that like? So like your youngest is 14 years younger,
Yeah.
right? How many years younger is your youngest sibling?
He's 19. So
19
we're,
years. Oh, I was like younger.
we're
I was like,
16
damn.
years apart.
So 16 and 14.
Damn.
So how is it being the oldest during the holidays? Because I'm sure there was a lot of years where like, yeah, you have to help. You know, they still believe in Santa or whatnot. Like, was Santa big for like your younger siblings?
My mom tried to make it as big as she could.
Yeah.
You know? My dad never did anything to add to it or take away from it.
Yeah.
But they always made sure that like they had presents from Santa.
Yeah.
Even though to the age they're like, I don't think they.
Like they know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely did. And I will say, like, I feel like me and my sister, like, spoiled him and stuff. And, like, even now, like, we'll still, like, give him stuff, like, for his
Yeah.
birthday and for Christmas. But I think ever since he turned 18 last year, we're like, you 18 now, bro.
Yeah.
You got to give these kids gifts now. Like, give
Yeah.
your nephews
Yeah.
presents, you know? And so he actually just texted me and my sister earlier and was like, so are we just doing gifts for the kids? And we're like, yeah. And then we'll do games.
Yeah.
And so now we're like talking about like what games are we going to do? But yeah, I give him crap now. So you know, he's a barber.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, yo, I need some shampoo. So I need you to take me to, take me to the store.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
And then like we went there. We have two here in town. We've got the Cosmo Prof, right? And then we have Salon Centric. But Cosmo doesn't carry all of the brands or like the one that I wanted. And they were like, oh, you got to go to Salon Centric. So we go over there and they're like, oh, you need to create your account online on the app. And so I was like, all right, we'll just go create it and then we'll come back another time. And he's been having issues with it, but it
Yeah.
sounds like it's like a pretty common thing. And so I was like, well, I need you to figure it out because I need shampoo. And he's like, man, go pay retail. And I was like, you better give me that shampoo. I was like, no, that's why you got a license, because you're gonna get
Yeah.
our stuff.
Yeah.
And then my sister was giving me crap the other day, and she's like, well, the way you talk to him. And I was like, you know what? I given him so much growing up. I'm like, he better recognize.
Yeah.
Like now it's time for him. And I said, I'm not asking for him to give it to me for free.
Oh,
Like, I'm just telling him to go with me so I can buy it, you know,
Yeah.
because you need a license to go into those stores.
Damn, that's hardcore.
Salon Centric is the best though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got
If
they
you can
got
get
good
in with
stuff.
someone, yeah, that's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus, I'm gonna come for you next. I don't know
Yeah.
what's there, but I want to find out now.
Like the pomades are cheaper. Everything's
Yeah,
cheaper
yeah.
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like half off. Like, yes, can I go into Ulta
It's
and
wholesale, I
buy?
think.
Yeah, can I go into Ulta and buy the same shampoo? Yeah, but it's gonna cost me twice as much
Yeah.
at Ulta than at Salon Centric.
If you really need it, we can tell my wife. She has it on the app. You
Yeah.
can go with her.
yeah.
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 I think. Well, he texted me right now saying that he called.
Or
and that
maybe
they
he's
said
like
it's an
he's
issue.
pretending because like for
He better
Christmas,
not.
Christmas is gonna give you like
Yeah.
shampoo.
Surprise. That's your birthday
Yeah.
present.
But okay, just like little sidebar, because we're so like far apart. So the other day I was like on Instagram, and you know how you can add like a song, not to your profile, but like to your status
Yeah.
now, right?
Yep.
And so I saw that he had this band on there, and I was like,
He's in love.
but no, it's not a band, like it's a rock band, right? And so stuff that I was listening to back in 2007, right? And I was like,
You're that old?
all of a sudden, I was like, huh, all of a sudden you're listening to this stuff? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, who taught you that, you know? And he's like, not you. You didn't play it around me. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that I did. I'm like, bro, I was listening to this stuff when you were 2,
It's
which is crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
it's crazy having a little brother that you're like,
right?
yeah, like Alex's presents were the best just because they were funded by my dad. But Alex was so like thoughtful. Like he'd get
Yeah.
you a pair of slippers because he see that you wouldn't have slippers during the winter. And you're like, damn, dude, like those are like now he's older. Now
Right.
you're like, I mean, this is his first summer working, and I told my wife, I'm like, we have to give him a bonus for working all year because like still to this day, I'm like. He usually asks this is the first year he hasn't asked my dad money for presents because like he stacked it up all summer.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, and I'm still getting him work. I'm like, Alex, I don't know what to find at the house to keep paying you, man. And I'm like, but we'll figure something out. And then I told my wife, we got to give him a bonus. I'm like, because the kid like worked all summer and like
Yeah.
you guys seen him around.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That, like you see him, that's how Alex is. And I'm like, it's like, it breaks my heart sometimes because I'm like, damn, I miss him like all small and talkative. And,
Yeah.
and now you see him like, he has a phone now. Like finally, he bought his own phone this summer and see him grow up. Or I'm like, damn. Like, and then he goes to football games with girls, and it's like, damn, player. And then he's like, they're just my friends that are girls. And he's like, yeah. And like, so they're your girlfriends. He's like,
Yeah,
no. He's in
yeah.
that stage that girls still have cuties.
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, you're gonna, yeah. It's crazy having
Because he's
siblings.
13, right? Or is he 14 now?
14.
Yeah.
13.
13, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so no, we're not 14 years apart. We're 13 years apart.
Yeah.
10 years apart.
We'll be 14 years apart at some point this year, but
Yeah, yeah.
next year. But yeah. So it's crazy having siblings. I think it's like a double-edged sword though. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like my parents were the hardest on me, and like,
Because you were the oldest.
The
they
oldest,
were
yeah.
figuring it out with you.
right.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know. I think it's different being a girl though, and being the
Yeah.
oldest and the
Yeah.
boy, because like, my
Oh,
mom,
for
yeah.
sure, right? I've talked about this before. Like, my dad was way different with me and my sister than
Yeah.
he was with my dad or with my brother, but strict regardless.
Yeah.
But still different with both of
100%.
us.
Yeah. What about you? It's crazy because you were the baby, huh?
I was the baby, yeah. So my closest sibling was 9, 10 years apart from me. And then the next one was about 15.
Oh,
so
dang.
it was, I was probably spoiled during Christmas by them. So we would, like Christmas Eve, like when I was little, my sisters, my tias would come to my house and they would start doing their tamales. So that was like that was our all day thing. I remember I'd have the little pala thing that they'd give me, and then I'd have to like
For the masa?
move the masa around. You know what I mean? Do all that, help mix it, and then I would just kind of sit and watch and kind of be there with my dad. Like I felt like the guys would just move. Like here's the move it here, move it there. So it's cool to be around that. And then like it'd be atole and mole, arroz con leche a lot. And then we'd open our gifts at midnight. So once midnight would hit, like we'd gift exchange. Santa was more like my stocking stuffer.
Oh, okay.
So like I'd wake up and then in the mornings I'd have maybe an extra toy, we would do socks because we wouldn't, like, it was just my calcetines, you know, we wouldn't do full on stocking, so we do that. But I was probably like 7 or 8. I woke up really excited
found
one
out?
morning, and I went. No, I was probably in 5th or 6th grade. So how old is that? Like,
Oh, that's a lot older.
5th or
than-
6th grade? That's about 10 or 11.
yeah, and I remember
Because my
I-
son's in 6th grade and he's 11. So
Yeah, and it was the year my sister got married, and I remember walking out of the room and I see my mom stuffing the stockings,
Oh, no.
and it was traumatic because up to that point, like they had me like,
You
because
truly believed.
Yeah.
You were in like.
well, it was again like I told you, it was a scary relationship with Santa because like I don't know if it was this way for you guys, but this is why sometimes I think minorities are afraid of the police. But like, if you were doing bad, like, voy a hablar a la policía, you know, or whatever,
yeah.
or
Le
else
voy a
like,
decir a ese señor que te lleve.
yeah, or else like, hey, Santa's watching you, you
Yeah,
know. And I was so analytical as a kid, like you know, like the damn music, like he sees you when you're sleeping, all that shit. I'm just like,
Why?
all right, this dude's coming. He's gonna give me presents, but he's watching me too. And if not, like, he's gonna leave me cold. So
Yeah.
so I don't. It wasn't like the Christmas morning, like, you know, because like right now with like my kids, we have done in the morning, you know,
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. You know, we're up late at night putting toys together, which I'll never purchase anything that needs assembly because
Oh yeah, you have. To
yeah,
wake up
I
early,
hate that
assemble it.
shit. And then
Yeah.
trying to assemble
Noted.
shit with me when it's like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Like, yeah, so that's a little tricky. But, you know, we leave the cookies and milk out. And
Yeah. Yeah, we do
Quincy
that too.
drinks the milk and I eat the cookies.
Yeah.
And so it's cool for them to do that. We do that with Dia de los Muertos now.
Oh,
Like, and we'll drink, like, there's nothing cooler for me than, like, you know, we leave a Coke out for my dad or we leave this diet for my sister and my abuela and stuff. And you wake up and you eat the stuff, and then like the kids wake up and they're like, oh, you know, like
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Have you ever had it not have flavor?
the what?
Like anything you eat? Because allegedly, when I lived in Mexico, that's the point. Like when you eat the pan, it shouldn't have flavor, or you drink like a Coke, it shouldn't have a Coke taste.
Oh no.
No?
it
And what's the
tasted-
meaning? Like,
It's because you leave it out there as ofrenda, so they
Sí,
come
sí,
in, they eat it, so they take away.
so they take away the
flavor.
taste?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
allegedly, that's what I
Right.
learned. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what. And the cool thing about school was that you come to school the next. I think it was over the weekend, but you come and then you're like, I think there's a day you have to eat it specifically. I don't know whether, but you try to eat like, oh, does that taste like something? And so yeah, sorry.
Oh damn.
I
didn't know. I just did it like the morning. I woke up before everybody and just I'm
Take a
gonna drink
bite
this
or
Coke. I'm gonna
whatever.
do this.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, with our family, it's so. Now they've changed the day when like Quincy's family will celebrate it, just because everybody else is married and
Yeah.
they all kind of have their stuff with their families. But like we'll celebrate like this Sunday coming up, the 16th. It's like Quincy's dad's birthday, and then we do our like Christmas dinner, and then we do our gift exchanges. Then they
Yeah.
give the kids gifts there, and then we do. I think this year we're gonna kind of change it up a little bit. We used to kind of go back and forth between families. My family's a little bit. I don't know if it's morbid dead to say. Like they're not. We don't really.
Small.
It's smaller now, so we're starting to do our own. Like we want to make tamales this year. Like I want to keep those
Traditions.
traditions alive because I want my kids to like kind of see like the stuff that we would do, you know. And now that we're not doing anything with Quincy's family on the 24th, then we just want to do tamales. I want to do them like Mexican American, no sabo tamales is what I'm going to call them.
What do you mean?
So-
What do you mean no sabo?
Yeah, so I want to cook pork shoulder in the smoker. So it's got like sabor and everything.
Okay.
Fancy
Shred-
as.
yeah, shred that, because I think sometimes my biggest problem with the pork they'd make for the tamales was it was almost boiled, or like it had some seasoning, but the
Right.
flavor came from the
Salsa.
salsa, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna smoke the pork shoulder early, get it done, and then make the green, the red, and we'll probably make. I hate white tamales, so I'm not gonna make any. My kids eat red.
What?
Wait, what are white tamales?
White tamales.
Yeah, the ones that like. Did your family do this when like for kids, like they make the green chile, the red chile, and then they'd make some that had no chile at all?
No.
No.
That's what my family would do.
I was
like,
punished then. I mean, I was forced to eat.
they would wrap the white tamales with like almost like a little
tie or
Oh,
something.
tie or
Maybe
something.
the queso, like, because, like rajas. Have you ever had tamales de rajas?
No,
those
y'all
are my
put cheese in
favorite.
queso?
Rajas and
Any
It's
tamales?
cheese
zanahoria
and it's cheese and sometimes it'll have jalapeno pieces and like the pepper, the rajas, and
Yeah.
like a piece of corn or not corn. That's the carrot.
I've seen some people do calabaza, but it makes like a little.
No.
We've done chile before, but yeah, that's how we would identify the white ones for the kids. But what my kids are into they're into spicy stuff. So for me, it's like I want to try it that way, just to kind of add different flavor to it. Not make them so thick. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe it'll screw it
Yeah.
up, but I want to be able to do that and kind of have those little traditions. And then I think my youngest still believes in Santa. It was.
Wait, so the rest don't believe in Santa no more?
I think they figured it out,
messed up.
The
kinda-
internet's out there too, by the way.
Yeah, and really just being able to talk. Like I remember my oldest Jacoby was like, "Hey, is Santa real?" And I try to just be honest with them.
You told
I'd be
him?
like, yeah, I was like, just keep the magic alive for your siblings. But
How
for-
old was he?
He's 12. He's probably 10. So yeah. Thing with him too, though, is like for like us, like Santa wasn't giving the big presents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Santa was dropping off. Like, so what Quincy does is she'll leave we'll get them their favorite cereal, their favorite candies, little things, and just put it out on the couch.
Yeah.
And just lay it out there unwrapped. So when they walk out, like that's the Santa stuff, stockings, and then like the special gifts, stuff that like we know that they would love,
Right.
come from mom and dad. So we do that. We actually talked about maybe just opening gifts at midnight now, and then still kind of do the Santa thing, kind of do like a mix,
Yeah.
But it's interesting because, before we had kids, Quincy's family would do their thing on New Year's Eve, and they would do the whole, like, they're cooking ham during the day. They're doing a gift exchange. New
Year's Eve or
they
Christmas
do
Eve?
Christmas Eve. They do like a talent show where, like, if you want to show whatever talent, and then they do like a nativity scene. So it was very like traditional
Yeah.
light, I guess,
Yeah.
And then for us, then we just go over to my family's house, and like you get there and like the tamales are going, atoles flowing, and like Dios Diaz are there, and you just go home. Our kids would never make it to midnight, so it was like we got to leave at like 11 and give them their presents in the morning. But that's how it's been for us so far. I think moving forward, I don't really know what the holidays are going to look like.
Yeah.
Like it's been, I think it was 2021. My sister was in a coma during the holidays, so like we didn't even. Like it was weird to want to go and celebrate that, you know? And then we've had 2 Christmases, 2022 and 2023 without her. And we're just trying to figure out how to like flow, because it has like, it's changed our whole family dynamics. And with my mom being sick, like she may go before, like if, our nurse was saying like she doesn't know if she'll make it to Christmas. So for me, like it's the holidays they're hitting different, right? Because now like my family isn't there, but we're I hope I don't have to have a funeral before Christmas, but it's like we don't get to choose that. So still trying to flow through like the feelings and emotions, which is a big part why, because like when we do tamales on New Year's Eve, man, that was my sister and my mom leading the way. You know what I mean? Like, let's do it. Let's get that done. And now they're both gone. So I'm just like who else?
So is your current sister that you have here, is she kind of like stepping up into that role or no?
I think so. But
Like,
she's
is she
also
wanting to like keep those traditions alive? And she's like, hey, let's still get together and do these tamales or something.
Yeah, I think con ella it hits her harder,
Yeah.
nomás porque like, I mean, I was a I was 10 years younger. So when like it would be her and my mom and my tias and my other sister, it was just them. Because I feel like for them, they just sit around the table, they do the masa, set it up, and it was like I just always remember being in the living room with my dad and hearing laughter and everything over there. So I think we tried it the year after my sister passed, and it was like sad, right? Like we were all just kind of sitting there doing it. It was quiet, people were crying, and it was just. It's not like the magic was gone, but you could just feel that, like, damn, like, and I imagine for her, it's like all the people I was doing this with they're not here anymore, you know? And I think that is right now for me, the holidays is why it's so hard. Cause like, man, holidays were always about family, you know what I mean? And it was always like, and it's like not just not having them there during the holidays, but like losing them during the holidays. Like, yeah, cause it was always big for us. Like it would be, Christmas at my parents' house, and then New Year's Eve would be at my sister's that passed away, her house, because her firstborn Alonso, that was his birthday, was December 31st. So we were there, you know, every New Year's, and it was just always like a fun, good time, you know, which is crazy because when they put her in a coma before Christmas. She was only supposed to be in there. For those that don't know, she got COVID in winter of 2021. It was about middle of December, just before Christmas. They put her in a coma because that was supposed to help, and she just never woke up. So she was in a coma through the holidays, which sucked for us because, like I just remember one of the last texts I got from her was like, you know, I want to make it home before Christmas, you know? And I'm just like, cool, like, that's the purpose of this. Like, you're going to get in there, and then you're going to get out, and then we'll have you back. Because she was big on Niño Dios. I never understood it.
Yeah.
But she would always leave early at midnight so she could, like, put the baby to sleep or something.
Well, because you have the nativity set, right? Yeah. And then throughout the whole month, it's empty. Like, the little spot where you put him is empty. So then day of, you put him y ya aparece, no?
Yeah. There's, like, a whole, like... songs that you do to welcome the baby, the birth. Do you guys go to church on Christmas?
Sometimes.
No.
It gets packed.
Yeah, Christmas gets packed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like things like that,
Yeah.
It's hard. I feel like everybody like, it sucks because like you said, like there's a lot of like sadness during your, I feel like we'll all eventually get there, you know? Like for me, I don't have anybody besides like my grandpa that's passed away in my whole family.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what the slightest feeling is of like losing someone. And I wasn't really close with my grandpa.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be able to tell you like, yeah, like I felt it when he was gone. Cause like birthdays and like Christmas, you get like a call. You're like, damn, that's no longer there. And like seeing my dad cry for the first time, you're like, damn, like that's more painful for me.
Yeah.
And so like I like, and you talk about COVID, during COVID, like my wife's side of family, they lost like 3 family members back to back to back.
Dang.
And you're like, holy shit. Every time someone called, it seemed like someone was dying. Like people were just dying left and right. And then my godparents, her brother passed away. And then my godfather's dad passed away. And then the next thing you know, my godmother's other brother passed away, like back to back to back. And then I was like going to the first time a funeral ever in my life. Cause I didn't even get to attend my grandpa's funeral cause he was in Mexico. But just like seeing other people grieving, you're like, holy shit, I can't relate with you. It's been like the scariest thing. And I tell my wife, I'm like, I feel like when it's my turn, because it's gonna happen to all of us, unfortunately. But like, I tell her like, I don't know what I'm gonna feel because I'm the type of person that like, I don't want anybody to know, obviously, right? But like, I want to be in my own world. I don't want like, I hate when people like, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss or shit like that. You know, like, we talked about it one time about like the viewings. Like, I don't want that shit. I don't want people coming and hugging me. Like I'll figure it out on my own, just like I've always figured out shit my own. Like I don't, and then it's not like nothing to do with anybody. Like very thankful for everybody that would be there for me. But like at the end of the day, like I'm the one that has to figure out still how my life's gonna keep going. Like if I need to figure out myself, and then like, and so that's why I think that's what the biggest scares of me is like when something like that happens is like I just don't want anybody there, if that makes sense, in the nicest way possible. Because I need to learn how to be able to accept that. But I don't know, because I feel like I'm very like a emotional person, but like I like to keep my shit bottled up.
Yeah.
And like my wife's like, you got to open up on but like that's how I feel like that's how I like can get over stuff myself. You know, I don't know. Like I don't know if you guys are like that too. Like I'm completely like.
It was a different experience for me. Like when I lost my dad, I think I struggled. I tell everybody like that's where I learned how not to stress when I lost my dad, because, you know, he got diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig disease, and that was a hard day. He didn't speak English, so I had to go to Salt Lake with him to do that. They told us here locally that he had like a pinched nerve, so they needed to do surgery so his hands could move better. But he didn't want to do it because he didn't want to miss work. Mm-hmm. So he's like, let's go get a second opinion in Utah. We're sitting there, and I remember the doctor's like, you know, have you guys been checked for ALS? And that was when the ALS bucket challenge was going on. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah, the ice bucket challenge.
And I was like, before that, I was like, man, I hope it's not that. You know, that was kind of like I hope it isn't that. And then we get there, and the guy's like, hey, let's go to the neurology center and run some tests. Yeah, they start running tests over there. They look at all this stuff. And I remember because I brought my wife and my kids with me, and we were all in the room. And the doctor comes in, and he's like, hey, your dad has ALS. And then he hands me this brochure. And I'm reading through it, and I was like, holy shit, my dad's going to die. And, like, once they get diagnosed, it's like it could be 6 months. It could be 6 years. You don't really know. But, like, you just lose your ability to do everything, you know?
Yeah.
And I had to... It's one thing to hear that news, but then you got to translate that to your dad and to tell your dad, like, hey, Dad, like, you got a terminal illness, and you're not just going to die quick. You're going to lose your ability to work, to drive, to use your hands, and the way it kills you towards the end is your diaphragm muscles stop working and you
stop breathing.
You know? So I remember I stepped outside of the room, and I called my sister, who's passed, and I tell her, like, Dad's got ALS. And I just remember her, like, just screaming, crying, like, you know what? And I was like, do I tell him now? Like, what do I do? And she's like, no, wait till you're home so we can tell him all together, you know? Called my other sister, same thing. Called my sister in Mexico, and she was like, don't tell him, porque si le dices, se va a ir más rápido. And I was like, no, fuck that. Like, if I knew that I only had a few years left to live, I want him to know so he can do whatever. Lo que quiera hacer. When we told him, he was in denial. Like, no, you know, no es eso. And then, the next, like, 2 years, like, it started with, he'd call me at, like, 5 a.m. to go start his truck. He couldn't button his, you know,
his
stuff.
shirts and stuff.
And then eventually he got to the point where he just couldn't walk anymore. So he couldn't really breathe fully on his own. So he used the breathing machine. And I just remember, like, for the first, like, month, I've never been an anxious person. Like, I've always just been chill, cool. But that was the first time that it was, like, anxious, stress. Like, there's a problem and I can't fix it. Yeah. And I can just sit there and watch. And it took me a while to finally realize, like, I can sit here and grieve my dad today, or I can enjoy him and just know that I can't control everything, you know? So it was crazy because the day he died, or the last day I ever got to see him, and that's the beauty of, like, and I'm trying to, like, embrace it. Like, I'll kind of talk about my sister afterwards. That's the one that fucked me up the most. Like, with my dad, it was almost like, and this is what makes me really do believe in, like, God or whatever, you know, is up there around us. But a dude from Chicago reached out, or the Chamber of Commerce from Blackfoot reached out and said, hey, there's this guy from Chicago. He wants to maybe start a business in Blackfoot. Will you talk to him about some parcels that might work? And I was just across the street from the city office. So I'm like, sure, bring him over. And he came over, and he's talking about this business idea, what he wants to do. And he's like, and the reason I want to do this is because I lost my dad last year in 2017. in a heart attack, and I never got to say goodbye to him, and I want to kind of carry on his legacy. And I was sitting there listening to him, and it kind of hit me like, damn, my dad's dying, you know. And I told him, I was like, you know, my dad is suffering too, you know, and he's got ALS and he's struggling. And he says, sometimes dads hold on longer than they need to because they're still trying to be a dad and protect you. He's like, you should talk to him and tell him that you guys are going to be okay. So, man, that Friday night, I actually called my father-in-law and I'm like, hey, do you want to go to lunch? I just had this conversation with this dude. And I was like, because he had lost his dad. I was like, did you talk to your dad about, like, you guys will be okay and stuff? And he's like, yeah. He's like, we did. And we just wanted to give him that peace of mind that, like, hey, he can let go. We'll be fine. So that Friday, I bought a bunch of tacos, got him a Red Bull because he loved his Red Bulls because he drank a lot of Red Bulls during work. And, yeah, we eat. And he hadn't been eating a whole lot, but, man, he was eating his tacos that day, you know, because he couldn't really swallow. And he was drinking his Red Bull. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to get ready to go. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to have the conversation with him, you know.
Was it just you? And were your sisters
my
there too?
sisters and my mom and everybody was there. And as I'm getting ready to leave, I just go and I tell him, like, hey, like, va a ser que tienes miedo de lo que te ha estado pasando, y a lo mejor vas a tener miedo de lo que va a pasar. And I told him que no tengas miedo, que tú vas a estar bien. And I told him, no te preocupes de mi mamá. Ella va a estar bien, you know, no te preocupes de mis hermanas, ellos van a estar bien también. And I told him, like, no te preocupes de mí y mi familia. Like, I'm going to be good, you know, and like, you're going to be fine. And he's sitting there nodding and crying, you know. And I told him, like, hey, I love you. Gave him a kiss. I get in the van because I had told Quincy I was going to have this conversation. She was watching it happen. I get in the van and I just start sobbing. I was like, man, that was so fucking hard. Like, I'm not ready to let him go, but I don't want him to suffer. And then go to bed. I get a call at like 5 a.m. from my sister, and she's crying and screaming that he's gone. And I don't know how I got dressed. I don't know how I got to the house. But as I was driving, I called that dude from Chicago, left him a message, and told him, like, thank you. I feel like because of him, I was able to give my dad peace. My mom told me that she woke up like 2 or 3 in the morning and he was still on the couch, but his mask was off. So she put it back on him and he was okay. Then she woke up again around 4:30 or 4:45 and he was on the ground with his mask off. I think at that point he just decided to choose on his own, because after that it was going to be a feeding tube and he had to be in a nursing home. Y él quería estar en su casa. So there was beauty and peace that I got from that, but I didn't grieve. I didn't like take the time. I started a brokerage and I got busy and I worked. And that's when me and my older sister that passed a couple years later, todos los días, she had health issues and like chronic pain. Like we'd write each other like un día a la vez, you know, like a day at a time, because it was just hard, you know, because my mom had just gotten diagnosed with cancer. So like me with my siblings, right? Like we're going to get through this together, you know, like it's hard, but we're going to be here for each other. And then, yeah, my sister got COVID in 2021, December. And this is when I hated it. Like I couldn't go visit her. She was in a room by herself. Nobody could go see her. We would video call. We would talk on the phone every day. And like, she was scared and she wanted to go home. And she was like, I'm hoping I can go out this way. I'm hoping I can come out this way. The doctors were like, it was really weird because I had a friend's little brother that was in that same hospital that had COVID. And it was like my sister was getting better and the guy was getting worse. And I felt really bad for the other family. And then something flipped where he started recovering and she was getting worse. She was they're like, hey, we're going to have to put her in a coma and that'll allow her to like not fight the medicine and we can give her nutrients. She just never woke up.
Well, her body wasn't strong enough to be in the coma.
To fight. Yeah. That's what I think. And, we actually got a call on December 31st, which is the day that we would all gather at her house.
Her nephew's birthday.
Yeah.
On her son's
that she was going to pass. So we were all in the hospital on December 31st together. Like my hermanas, my mom, my nephews, and my kids, and we were all together, and we kind of said our goodbyes that day. I get sick. It was like December 3rd. I'm like sick a couple days later. December 3rd, I go to the clinic. You're like, yeah, you have COVID, you know? And at that point, I'm scared, right? That's the first time I get COVID. I was like, shit, what's going to happen to me? December 4th, I get a call that my sister passed. My nephew called me, and he hadn't told my other sister, and they hadn't told my mom. I couldn't be with my family when they found out that my sister passed. So I wasn't there with my mom when she found out, and I wanted to be there with her because my mom's very, I don't want to say dramatica, but she's very like emotional. Like she's going to cry out loud. She's going to just go through it and show her emotions, and to not be able to be there with her or my other sister, or even my sister's family when they found out, was very isolating. Like it was just like, damn, like my sister just died and I can't be with my family, you know? And I think it was around that time when they changed the rule from 10-day quarantine to 5.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to be able to go to her funeral, but then they changed it to 5, and it was the 5th day, like the day before her funeral, her viewing, when I was actually able to go see her. And back then they really wouldn't let you see them. Like when my dad passed, like we all hung out at the mortuary.
Yeah.
Like he was there, and all of us would be there and just kind of sit there and got to spend time with my dad's body, I guess, you know. But with my sister, they wouldn't let us do anything. So they let me go see her once. And to me, it's the momento when, like, you see them dead, like, for the first time. Like, I can't hear your voice anymore. You know, I can't, like, feel your warm touch anymore. Like, with my dad, I just remember, like, it was hard for him when he had to quit working, but he would call me every day, every fucking day. And it was so cool until he just couldn't walk to the phone anymore. And that's when I knew, like, fuck. With my sister, we'd talk all the time. She'd text me, un día a la vez, you know, like, how are you? How are your kids? And then when she was going to go in a coma, it was over. I'd still call her, and they'd just kind of hold the phone next to her head so I can talk to her, because they'd say, like, they can still hear you. It didn't help. So since then, like, I've had a real struggle through the holidays trying to grieve. And I think what I realized once my sister passed is that I didn't grieve my dad properly. So then everything, like, unraveled, you know. And, like, I was talking about never being an anxious person. I was kind of talking to you yesterday. Like, I've never been the shy type, like, social settings. Like, that was my jam. Like, I want to be out in the vola, you know what I mean? I want to be out there and, like, you know, do what I can. And then that's when anxiety hit me for the first time. And it was like social anxiety, right? Because people are always telling you, like, hey, sorry for your loss, sorry for that. And, like, they mean well, but it's like dropping a dime or a penny in the ocean thinking you're going to make waves, you know? Like, it doesn't help, you know? And then I remember driving to the office. I was part of a networking group at the time. And, like, man, I'd show up to these places, get to the parking lot, start crying, and then drive away. I felt like a coward. I was like, I don't want to be here, you know? So that's been very difficult. And now that my mom, I mean, she almost died on my birthday. Like, I get a call from my sister at like 8 a.m. and it's like my birthday. My kids are like, you know, giving me my presents, doing their thing. We're going to cook some carne, hoping to have her over to my house. And all of a sudden, like, yeah, she's going to go. And that was just very, it's traumatic to, my sister's death was traumatic because I just couldn't be there for her. And for me, it's like, man, when someone's going to pass, like, I want to be by your side. Like, I love you. I want to make sure that you're not alone. She was alone with my mom, seeing her on my birthday. Like, it was the scariest thing I've ever seen, because it is your mom, right? Like, so, like, the sister I lost, that was you guys and your family. Like, you are my sister and your family. Like, you were the leader, the glue, had the little brothers. Like, maybe your little brothers you might think they're annoying as shit sometimes, right? But, man, they love you. You know what I mean? They look up to you. And, like, to have that, like, 13, 14-year gap, like, my parents would work swing shifts. So my oldest sister was my mom for 2 weeks when I wouldn't see she would feed me. She would make me shower. She was a disciplinarian, you know? I remember in 5th grade when I'd always steal her cassette or her headphones. And she had a Grupo Mandingo that she would listen to. And I would always steal it when she got married, I was so bummed because like that was my friend. Now she's leaving, right? Like, damn, my older sister's leaving. She gave me that cassette and her tape player, and I would like when she'd be gone.
How
I
old
just
is he? Cassette, tape player.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to Google what that is later, but
yeah, but I'd listen to her music. So I still listen to her music, but it was very difficult for me after I lost her until I had someone write me on Facebook, which is really weird. Like, hey, I have a message for you, and I was like,
Oh, I remember
who the fuck are you?
this.
Like, why are you sending me a message? And,
Yeah.
and she's like, do you believe in mediums? And I was like I've never talked to anybody or anything, you know. She's like, I have a message from you from your sister, and it kind of like offended me.
you didn't know who this person was.
I didn't really know her.
Not
you know?
even from here in town.
She's from town, so I asked my sister who it was, and I was like, that was Mari's best friend in high school.
Oh, no
like she would
shit.
come over to our house a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, what? So then I'm like, okay, what is it? Like, and then she sends me this recording of her talking to a medium. She's like, do you know an Elijah or an Elias or something like that? And she's like, Elias.
Oh,
guy
so
from
your
the-
sister's best friend went to a medium.
Yeah, yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
and she told her.
Yeah.
And the medium told her
It's like only the Facebook guy.
if she knew an Elias or something, and she's like, oh yeah, and like does he have a connection with someone here? And she's like, yeah, my best friend, she just crossed over, just passed. She's like, she has a message for him, and I'm listening to this on audio, right?
Wait, she recorded this conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah, she recorded the medium.
she sends it to me, and the medium's telling her like she's wanting to like let this person know, Elijah or Elias, that like he's really struggling with her loss. And at the time, like, and I'm still struggling with it, like, but I was fucked up. And like in the recording, the medium's telling her best friend, like, let him know, because she knows he's struggling, that like she's okay, that she said something about like she can see her breathing and it just stopped, but she's like she couldn't fight anymore, she just had to go, she couldn't struggle anymore, but let her know that she's okay and she didn't feel any pain. And that was always my thing, like, what is she feeling, like what like, you know, because when we went to see her, like, man, she had the, what's the thing called that goes down her throat?
Oh, the breathing
the
tube?
breathing thing, and like it was just horrible to see her that way, and to hear that, it was like, whoa. Because for a while there, I was like, I've lost her. Like with my dad, like this might sound weird, but I could still feel him. You know, with my sister, it was like she was gone. You know, and what's wild is my parents would tell me that like when I was younger, I'd have night terrors, like just wake up crying and screaming, and the only one that could calm me down was Mari. And I always felt this feeling of like she's in a different planet and I need to get to her now, but I know I can't. And I tell Quincy that like that's what it feels like every day now. Like when I wake up, it's that feeling that I have with a night terror, like damn, like, because she was only 50, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of like damn. And like now I'm dealing with it with my mom, you know, and watching my dad suffer was hard, but watching your mom suffer is a whole different level of just like, whoa, because I was in her belly, you know what I mean? She took care of me. And man, it's hard. And like, I know I'm going to lose her. And I think it's hard to like see my sister struggle. That's alive, Avelia. She was best friends with Mari. Like they grew up, like they were just like that, you know? And seeing her struggle with my mom and seeing my kids struggle with my mom, like, you know, like seeing my oldest come home and just break down crying. Like it's very difficult because I need to be the strong one.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I have strength, you know, because it's just one after another. I feel like I need a break. But it's been tricky. And that's why for me right now, the holidays are just like, it's not like I hate the holidays, but it is so hard for me to like look around and be like, because I grew up with my two sisters, my mom and my dad, and it was my dad, my mom, and Maribel that were kind of like, they raised me, and they were like three of my strongest pillars. And now they're gone or I'm losing them. So it feels I'm surrounded by people that love me. I have my own family, but I think it's my inner child that feels alone. And it's a mind fuck, you know, and I'm 39. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm about to lose both my parents, you know, and it feels, I feel angry. Like, one, I'm too young, but for me, it's just like my kids. And that's why for me, like, I love that you guys spend time with your parents and your kids get to spend time with your parents. Like, we live a half mile away from Quincy's parents, and I love that, like, they can at least enjoy the grandma and grandpa, but like my kids won't ever be able to really enjoy or remember their abuelo and abuelita, you know.
Yeah.
And that's where for me it's just like, damn. Worst part, like when Coco came out, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was about.
I cried.
Yeah, and it was
It was deep.
It
That
came
one.
out like almost right after my dad died, so I was like, oh, I'll watch this. Damn.
You're like, fuck.
Yeah. So I think that's what really got me into Dia de los Muertos. And this might sound weird, but it's losing my family that came from Mexico that's making me want to really connect with a lot of the traditions, because I don't want it to be, and that's what I told my kids after my birthday. It's like, I don't want our family traditions that I loved growing up from my culture to die with me. I was like, we gotta get this. We got to get it going. And like, they're excited. They love it. They feel that pride, you know? But it's very heavy, and I hope you guys don't have to go through that. And I think that's kind of my heartbreak. It's just like, there's a lot of people I love that are going to have to go through this one day. And
Yeah.
like, I hope I can help them when it happens, because like, the reality is, like, there's nothing people can say or people can do, because what I really want is I want to be with my family, and they're not here anymore, you know? And it changes the dynamics. We were the family that, like, every weekend they were getting together, you know what I mean? Like, we just tight knit, and then it just kind of, it's different now. And when we get together, we feel the absence, you know? I remember the first few times we got together, even at my house, we'd be downstairs in the basement playing poker, and I'd go upstairs and expect to see her there. Nothing. So death is hard, man. And I think the biggest lessons that I've learned is like trying to like get help, because trying to do it alone or busy yourself,
100%.
that's not easy.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I met. And I mean, not to drag it on, but like, that's how I met my wife. I started working at this business firm. Probably had met her once before, and then I think like 2 weeks after she started, her cousin passed away. And I mean, after that, like, I was like, not wanting to, not that I want to, but not knowing like I was that person for her. I didn't know this girl. I never even met her family or met her cousin, but like, for her to be able to like open up, like, kind of like just like you
Yeah.
didn't be able to talk and be like, like I said, I've never been able to feel that experience. I know I will one day, because
Yeah.
like, you know, but I have never been able to feel it and be like, oh, I know exactly what you're feeling. Like,
Yeah.
I just listened to her, and it's kind of weird to think about it, but that was like 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago. And
Yeah.
I was a person that was there for my wife, and I had nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
No connection, no friendship. We were coworkers, and she would talk to me, and I'm not saying one thing led to another, but like, we became friends after that, and then like, we started dating, and then now we're at where we're at. But like, that's honestly how it started, is because
Yeah.
she was going through a time that she couldn't turn around to her cousin and explain what she felt, because she was feeling the same way. And so like, and that's kind of sucks, because imagine her aunt losing a kid,
Yeah.
and her losing a cousin. I'm like, damn, that must be. And you know, so like, I definitely understand what you mean, and I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like my wife's gonna be my pillar if that
Yeah.
happens, because like, you talk about your mom, like, dude, the day I lose my mom, I'm gonna like, that's the saddest part for me.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I was spoiled. I was like an only child, you know, after my siblings got married and left. And I think the biggest thing for me is like I talked to you about it for the first time yesterday. I don't like to talk about it. Like, it's hard for me to be vulnerable and like let the pain out.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid that if I let it out, it's all going to come out. So like, even talking about it, like, I feel more comfortable talking about it to my phone camera than I do talking about it to
In front of someone.
people. And even with therapists, like, it's been tricky, because it feels like if I switch to therapists, I have to start over and do the same thing over and over again, you know? So,
Yeah.
but it does, it's hard. And it's something that, and I don't know how many of our viewers have gone through it. You guys probably understand what that is, but like, I just know I'm not the same person that I was before I started losing my family. And now it's just really trying to figure out myself and it just feels like it's something I can't heal from. But also, like, to lose 3 of the most important people in your life in the 6-year time period that's just too much, too fast, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I appreciate you guys listening, you know, but honestly, I just hope you guys, it's not something that you guys have to go through anytime soon, because I feel like it's derailed who I was. I had someone tell me that I went to school with that was like, man, you're a lot quieter now. And it's just like, life has taken a toll on me. But what I tell you yesterday, I'm broken but motivated, or something
Yeah.
like that. And I feel like that's still something I got to do, because I got you little kids.
I told him he needs to put that on a shirt. Broken but
Motivated.
Or on a hat.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, that'd be, yeah.
That's what I hope I can do, like, moving forward, is just help others that are struggling through life. And I think I can heal more that way, and just try to open up to people that care, because it's hard to just talk about. It's like a hard reality, because I'm living it and I'm in it, and it's grief, you know, it's loss, it's hard.
Yeah.
But Merry Christmas, right? we're past our 1 hour mark. Anything else you guys want to say, cover?
No, you got me all sad.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about these things.
Yeah, it is. But
Yeah.
I'm glad I think it's something that I need to do more of,
Yeah.
because I think it's good for me. I just need to be more open, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I've become that drunk that, like, I
He
just get
does.
emotional.
He does.
After me and my dad would always play poker.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I would play, every time I play poker now with, like, my cousins that he would play with, I look around and he's not there. I'm just crying, and I'm just like, that's why I avoid playing poker with my cousins now, because I'm like, nobody wants someone just crying, right? Everyone's trying to have fun, and someone's
They're
over
like,
sobbing.
yeah, let's take his money.
Yeah. So, but I appreciate you guys, and
Yeah.
appreciate the viewers. Curious to hear some of your guys' experience with loss. And yeah, is that a wrap?
Yeah. I hope you.
Merry Christmas. Yeah. Happy Hanukkah.
I don't know if Hanukkah.
Whatever else.
happy holidays and encompasses.
It encompasses
Happy
everybody.
holidays. There you go. Thank you guys.
See you guys.